Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unexpected Entrepreneur Podcast. Today we are back with one of our past clients, Bri, to talk all about the Rebrand experience. So before we get started, would you like to introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Sounds good. I am Bri Ellington, wedding photographer here in the good old Richmond, Virginia, close to Richmond, Virginia, I should say. I have been doing this as a business for about 3 years, and I have loved doing it ever since. I am also outside of the wedding photography thing. I'm a wife and a mom to some amazing humans, and I do that in my spare time. So I balance them both, but
I love it.
That's me.
So before we jump into kind of your experience with everything, was there anything that kind of prompted this change and this kind of like, okay, it's time for me to kind of do this and do a new brand, new website? Were you having any challenges, or did anything kind of the light bulb moment of like, this is the time?
Yeah, definitely. I think things just kind of got stagnant, and it just felt like there wasn't much inspiring me. It felt like there wasn't much going on. It felt like things just didn't match up with how I was evolving as a person, my brand, I should say, because I'm, pretty much like to stay ever evolving and moving as a human and bettering myself. So my brand just like wasn't there. I was kind of, like out maturing my brand, if that makes sense. And so I had to, I think at that point it was kind of like, okay, I'm not feeling the brand. I am not feeling the way this website looks. It doesn't stand out in any way, shape, or form. I felt like I could go to lots of other photographers' pages and see the same thing that I was putting out, but I just felt like mine was missing me. I just felt like I felt like it wasn't a good representation of who I was as a person and what I brought to the table. So at that point, I had been following, obviously, the Inkpot creative team for the longest time. They had done some projects for some of the fellow photographers in the industry that I know of, and just kind of, they just put out some information that I felt like I could mesh with, I could match with, that I felt like we would work well together to elevate the brand. So I think at that point, it was time to reach out to Inkpot, and then here we are with the new brand now. So yeah.
I love it. I think we all kind of like, especially with wedding photography and photography in general, where it is very like personal. It's hard when you personally are like, I feel like I'm a different person now, but who is being represented in your brand is still like the old you, because then it like you have that disconnect, but then it makes it really hard to show up in the way that you want to show up, because they're like, your clients are expecting one thing, but you're like, actually, I'm this whole other person now. And like, this is very different.
That's exactly what it was. It just felt, it felt just like that. It was like, I don't know, it was a little bit more, the brand that I tried to represent before was a little bit more, upscale, kind of just, I don't know how to say it, but a little more upscale. And my personality is very down to earth. It's very, chill, laid back, and not, I don't know. It just didn't fit well. So I felt like on wedding days, I wasn't sure, what I could say, what I couldn't say. And there's just a whole lot that went into behind the scenes, like in my mind. And I felt like it made it a little more exhausting too, because I was constantly thinking about like, okay, what should I say here? What should I do here? More as I couldn't really be me. So you said that really well, honestly. Yeah. So I think, now is much, much different, much better, and more me.
Yeah. So. It's definitely that hard thing when you're trying to like filter yourself every single time you're interacting with people. Like it gets exhausting. And like, yes, you can show up as someone else, but day in and day out doing that is really difficult to do it and still actually like what you're doing and like put the work out that you want to put out.
Absolutely. That's exactly, I found myself burnt out, honestly, with a lot of everything business related. It just was exhausting to think about posting. It was exhausting to think about, editing. It was exhausting. It just put, me in a funk, to be
Yeah.
honest. And I understand that I am in full control of who I am. So it's probably something I needed to work through too. But yeah, so I felt like now is more so, you know, I feel like it's slowly coming out of the funk I had been in, I should
Hmm.
say, and just kind of taking more time for me too
Yeah.
in in my own personal life. I think my own personal life is probably a direct representation of really the business and what it represents too. So
Hmm.
I think now things are kind of more on the mend, on the up and up, and I feel like there's only up from here at this point. So
Absolutely. Before, up
yeah.
until this point, with your kind of brand and website, was that something that you had kind of done on your own? Did you work with anyone? Was it kind of like a starting point, anything like that?
Yeah. That I'm trying to remember. I think I started out with Pixie Set, and then and then I switched over to Showit, and I think it was like a Showit template that I originally used. And then I got somebody who built the brand for me initially from Showit. I found them on the Showit website.
Hmm.
And then, so there was a lady who built my brand there, but I really did not know all that went into building a brand at that moment. So it just felt kind of bland. I didn't know all of the behind the scenes stuff. I didn't know how to communicate me to people. I've struggled at times with written communication in a lot of forums. So it was like at that point when that brand had been built, there was a huge disconnect in me and the experience of the wedding
Yeah.
industry. I think was the breakdown there. It was kind of like I was a baby. I was a baby in the industry, obviously. So I didn't know much of anything, which, everyone starts somewhere, and that brand was absolutely necessary to propel me and inspire me to move into the next stages. But it had served its time, it served its purpose, and has gotten me to this point today, which I'm grateful for. I am thankful
Yeah.
for that brand. But now I'm ready, for everything my next brand has to offer, and it's exciting. So,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
and definitely when you're like first starting out, it can be really hard when you're trying to like figure out your footing in like who you are in the industry and what you want to do and who you want to work with. Like it changes a lot when as you work with more people, as you connect with more people, as you like figure out who you are as like an individual and a like business owner. And so it's very like it's something that we see all the time where you're like, okay, the first like we grew out of our first iterations of like the Inkpot stuff very quickly
Yeah.
and kind of evolved with it as it went. So it's a
Yeah.
totally natural thing to do. And
Hmm.
it's sometimes you're like it's hard sometimes to know when the right point is, but I feel like like we were talking about earlier, when you're like it really doesn't like I feel like I can't show up as myself, and I have a
Yeah.
better understanding of like who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing now and like who
Yeah.
I want to work with. Those are kind of the big things that we get asked all the time, like how do I know if it's ready to like I'm ready to actually do this and do it to this scale. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
if you really understand like why you're doing what you're doing and like who you want to work with, like those are really important questions to answer to be able to
Yeah.
build a brand that attracts the right people. But when you're first starting off, it can be
Absolutely.
really intimidating because you're like, I have no idea, like I've never worked with anyone
Absolutely.
before, I don't know who I like.
I know. It's absolutely terrifying, and it's very intimidating at times when I remember first getting into the wedding industry, and I had mentors when I first started out, and learned a ton from them. And I think that really was like the baseline
Hmm.
to kind of like propel me from the start, I should say. Like, I had mentors, and then I kind of got into more stuff with, other vendors, and being a second photographer is kind of how things flowed. I did that for, I mean, I'm still a second photographer, but I kind of started out, actually, backtrack. I booked my wedding on my first wedding was me. Like, it was a backyard wedding. It was in the middle of nowhere, the sticks out. I don't even remember where it was, but it was in the middle of the sticks, and a backyard wedding. I think I was there for 4 hours, charging like $300 for a wedding. So, like, I was there, and then, from there, I started second shooting, I'll say, and being a second photographer for other photographers and working a little bit with my mentors. It was kind of a program where I would show up, assist, and get to take some pictures from my portfolio, which helped build my portfolio. And I think that building a portfolio was like huge for the start, and it kind of got me in the door with other photogs to second shoot for. And then slowly after that, I was really building my own weddings, booking my own weddings. And then that's when everything got a little bit scary. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of really good people here. Like, there's a lot of amazing creatives in this industry. And I think that at that point, the imposter syndrome hit. And I was like, I don't know. And I think that's kind of what fueled like the whole downward, funk that I had been feeling, was like, oh, I don't know that I'm supposed to be here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know, there's a lot of other people who know much more than me at this point.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like been a journey for sure, this whole process. So yeah, I think we started there, and now we're here. We are here. So
Now it's so hard to get over imposter syndrome, like regardless of how long you've been in business or what industry. Like, it's so hard to not look at other people. But I do love that you kind of like had those mentors and kind of built up, doing second shooting and working with other people. Like, we've had coaches that have helped us and mentors that have helped us throughout like basically almost the entire time that Inkpot has been a business. And it's such a helpful thing, because especially early on, it can help you avoid some of the mistakes that a lot of people make, and kind of give you an insight into like the industry itself and where it's at. And I feel like it can also kind of help you figure out your footing and try different things and like see what works for you and what doesn't. Because that's sometimes it's scary when you don't have someone behind you being like, you can try other things. Like, you can do this, and if you don't like it, you can stop doing it. Like, that's the answer right there. But like, the second you have someone behind you saying that, you're like, okay, like, I get this. And it kind of opens your eyes to like all of the different things that you can do and like how that works, and gives you more like confidence to be more flexible in business, and not feel like everything that doesn't work is a failure, but it's just like repositioning you to something that's going to work even better.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I think, there was a time where it was like, I was scared to do anything on a wedding day. I was terrified to move into someone else's shot and, ruin the picture. But the opportunity to second shoot and be with mentors, it obviously got me here, and it got me to the point where now I'm like, I don't care, but it's not like I don't care. It's like I care very much, but I know that I deserve a spot in this wedding photography space. Yeah. So it's not like a, I don't give a crap kind of attitude, but it's more like, I'm here, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to, work my hardest in this industry to stand out. And that's what I feel like this brand is really all about. It is, it is standing out in a world in a wedding photography world where, there are so many. There are so many doing their thing out there, you know? So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that answers that.
No, absolutely. It's really like you're not stepping on other toes. You're just like stepping into the
Right.
space that you deserve to be in,
Yeah.
and
That's
like that
great. That's
can
a great perspective.
it can be hard, and because you don't,
Yeah.
I feel like you're always like, I don't want to like be too much, but like
Yeah.
you know what you're doing and you've earned your spot in here, and
Yeah.
like the confidence to be like, I can show up, and you're right, it's not
Yeah.
the like I don't care, it's the I care, but I know that I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing, and I know that I deserve to be here, so I'm gonna bring
Absolutely.
that confidence into this, and like that's what you're gonna see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think the brand really was the floor for the confidence. The funk lasted a little bit longer after the brand, but then like it's slowly working on myself after
Mhm.
after the brand was done and it launched. I was working more on myself and kind of being present with my family and being present with, you know, my kids, being a better mom. And I think what really happened was a perspective shift in
Mhm.
myself, which was really like, oh, the lights kind of came on, and it was more like, oh, I am here for a reason. I deserve to be here to just be, you know what I'm saying? To be the
Yeah.
photographer that I am and to, you know, be a better version of myself. So yeah, that's a great point. Great perspective there. So perfect.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
speaking of the new brand and website, since it
Yes.
launched, I know we launched it in like February, I think. So it
February.
hasn't been
Hmm.
too long. But how
Yeah.
have things kind of been working out with that? What have you kind of seen with it? Any
Yeah.
reactions or results or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. So we launched in February. It was kind of slow for my business for a while now, which also kind of attributed to why things were kind of slumped and stagnant for a bit. And I think that after the brand launched, that's when I had started my work on myself. And then I hadn't had inquiries in I don't know how long. I probably should have that info, but it had been forever that I got kind of discouraged and just was not tracking it. After a while, I was like, I don't want to deal with this. Let me be a mom for a few, but yeah. So I think I stopped tracking a lot of that stuff. But I what I've just recently had happen, I had, you know, a few inquiries come in, but the inquiry that hopped on a call with me, because I always like to hop on a call if my people who have inquired with me want to proceed, we'll hop on a call and we'll chat a little bit. And on this call, they instantly wanted to book with me. And I always give, you know, my couples or people, potential couples who want to book with me, the opportunity to, you know, I tell them, you know, take your time. This is a big, important decision to have somebody walk alongside you as a wedding photographer. It's absolutely, you know, huge. It's a big
Mhm.
choice. But she was like, no, she's like, I trust you. I don't, you know, I don't think we have to wait. You can just send me the proposal type thing. So that was super exciting and kind of was the reassurance that I really need I really needed. It was like a perfect timing of a reassurance. And it was, I think on our call, what really stood out was the fact that she didn't have hardly any questions for me.
Mhm.
She didn't have anything that she, you know, was worried about or concerned. It was more so it felt like there was trust there
Mhm.
that she's never even met me. You know what I'm saying? And there was a trust there that was like, oh, I can feel this. It was a very tangible level of trust that also helped with the reassurance that, oh, this brand is it. It's what I needed. Cause, you know, she chatted just in our conversation. She was like, I love your photos. I don't feel like, I need to tell you how to edit them. I don't feel like I need to tell you, how to do anything. She was just like, I can see it.
Mhm.
It was like, I can see it in your work type thing. So, and she was torn between one other photographer at the same time, and she was ready to book with me. So, perfect timing, perfect reassurance, much needed, and gave me another boost of confidence in the brand that I've created alongside Inkpot and a team. And I'm excited. So I'm excited for what's next. I'm excited for what's to come with my brand. I'm excited for all of the other vendors I'll get to meet. I'm excited for all of the other couples that go to book with me. It's just an inspired feeling now. So,
I feel like there's always that. I mean, first of all, when people like come on calls and are like, I know I want to book with you, like it makes you
yeah.
like, it just makes you feel happy. And you're like, okay, like
Yes.
I'm doing something right. But also
Yeah.
I think sometimes we don't always know when things are just like okay in our business, but we know when things are really good. And I think one
Yeah.
of the things when people are like, I already feel like I know you, it's like, okay, like this stuff is working. Because if we've never talked before, but you can look through my website, you can look through, my brand and my Instagram or whatever, and be like, no, I have all of my questions answered. I
Yeah.
know everything I have to do. Basically, I'm gonna get on this call to like have a vibe check and make sure that we're good
Yeah.
before I'm like,
Sure.
yeah, send this over to me. Like that,
Yeah.
I feel like makes it so much easier for us to sell in like a
Yeah.
not weird way or something that doesn't feel like inauthentic to us, because it's not us
Mm-hmm.
trying to be like, here is why you should book me, or why I'm, here's
Right.
my worth, what I'm gonna give you. It's
Yeah.
like, great, let's have a conversation and like start this relationship, and
Absolutely.
it's gonna translate throughout the rest of it. And if you can build that, especially with wedding photography, when you're gonna be with
Yeah.
them throughout their like most
All
important
day.
day, if you can
Yeah.
build that trust before they even sign the contract, like that is gonna
Yes.
be something that's super super important.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think that's crucial, and it's almost like it feels like it is working for me. Like my
Hmm.
website and my brand and my personality is working for me because I am the kind of person that has a hard time talking about myself in general. Um, I have never been someone that has promoted themselves in any way. I am chill. I am low key. I like to stay to myself and to my family and the friends that are around me. Like, I am not thinking about putting myself out there.
Hmm.
So it's just, this was crucial to really be my face, be my voice, and be like my personality in physical but not physical form. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So now it is, that call was just like confirmation that my brand is working for me, and it's everything that, you know, it's everything that I could ever dream of for a brand for this stage of my business. So, and that right there also gives you an extra little confidence boost because it's
Hmm.
like, I would throw ideas at the Inkpot team and be like, here, do something with this mumble jumble. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I had stuff up here
Yeah.
and I know what I want it to look like, but how do I get it out here?
Yeah.
And I think what really, really helped with the whole process and the Inkpot squad and this is there were some questions that just really challenged me and challenged my thought process to be like, oh, okay, I have to think about this one. So I think is your team has it set up so beautifully to where you really pull that out of people and have pulled it out of me, to be honest, because I don't know, the what has was up here and I answered in that questionnaire literally came to life like a freaking flower and is tangible now. So like I don't know, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful process that has happened in this whole rebranding scheme of things, and I am grateful for it. I'm grateful to the Inkpot squad for everything that they've done, and I owe you it all at this point. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, we love it. And we love the like honestly sometimes that just like brain dump, like stream of consciousness. It's hard because
Yeah.
when you're not like sometimes when you're not in the space all the time, it's hard to like put into words or
Mm-hmm.
like seeing other things. And sometimes you're just so close to your own business that it's hard to like
Yeah.
separate things. So we're always
Mm-hmm.
like, just get it out there, say it however you want. We can piece it
Yeah.
together. We can
Yeah.
ask questions to follow up or
Sure.
like kind of get to the root of things. But that sometimes that just like stream of consciousness is all you need to figure it
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
and get to the right point.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And I felt like also, just to piggyback off of that, I think it really ignited another level of creativity in just in this whole process. I think it really ignited another level of creativity in my mind and in my brain, and even just with, how I approach things on the admin side of things, because I haven't actually worked a wedding day just yet. I have my first wedding for this year, this Saturday. So, but I don't know, it just has ignited another level of creativity on the back end of things. And I feel like it doesn't feel like a chore as of lately to post stuff on social media. I'm kind of shifting my Instagram feed right now to match kind of the brand style. So I don't know. I just have kind of like the creativity flowing for social media posts. And I don't know how long it's been since I have felt any enjoyment in posting on social media. I'm going to be honest. But like, I have all of these sticky notes now of ideas that I have for, social media posts. So it's been, just the creative juices are absolutely flowing since this has happened and everything has kind of transpired the way it has. And I am so excited to kind of see that take place on a wedding day now. So I told my couple that is booked me this weekend, like, y'all are kind of in the perfect spot. I'm going to be honest, because I feel more creative than I have felt in a really long time too. So they're like, ooh, I'm so excited. And I am too. So just another level of creativity and excitement has been incredible to experience thus far. And I'm hoping everything kind of flows. So,
I love that. Was
yeah.
there any other part of the process that either surprised you or anything that you really, loved about it?
I think I loved the laid back feeling. It was work, but what isn't in life? Um, I mean,
Exactly.
just honest here. What is it in life? Life is, full of making moves and making it happen. But so it was obviously making moves, making it happen, and putting some hard work into it. But it was definitely like a laid back feel, and it wasn't. I don't feel like the Inkpot team was pushing themselves on me at all. It wasn't like this is how you have to do it, and this is what it's supposed to look like. It was more of a process that left me kind of challenging myself. And I think that's what I need as a person and as a photographer. I kind of need something that is going to challenge me and my mind to think. And once, that kind of happened, that was when everything kind of transpired. But I loved that about this process and how kind of chill it was. And because that's just my personality anyways. I'm laid back, but I'm also very, attention to detail. And I think that's another thing. There was just a lot of detail. There was a lot of the Inkpot team like preparing you, reminding you. It was a lot of, follow-ups. It was just and y'all were always accessible. So like I would send an email and either KP or Jessie were already responding to it like 5 minutes later, whatever. So it was very easily, it was just an effortless process, I think is a good word to use, because you all had everything just like boom, boom, boom. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. This is the results we could potentially have. And now here we are. So I don't know. I think that just made it worth every single penny that you invest in a rebrand with Inkpot, because it just, like I said, it was just effortless. It was just effortless for me, and it made me think. So I love that.
Yeah, we always like to kind of make it very, I mean, it's part of it is how our brains work with needing everything to be organized. But I think that, we've spent a lot of time trying to make it very clear and accessible, and like, here's exactly when things are going to be due, and here's exactly when you're
Yeah.
going to get things. And we do work on a shorter timeline than most people, and we like absolutely acknowledge that. But I think the way we have it and like the way we try to kind of do it is being very, like you said, like accessible and open and straightforward
Yes.
and honest. Like, we're not hiding anything. We're going to send you
Yes.
reminders because you know what? Life gets busy and work gets
Yeah.
busy and a lot of things
Absolutely.
happen. And we don't want it to feel like some big drain or suck doing this. We want it to be really
Yeah.
fun. And I think part of
Yeah.
that is going into it with your eyes wide open and knowing exactly what's going to happen makes it
Yeah.
a little less scary, because you're like, okay, like, I know that this is coming. It's not unexpected. I know that I'm going to leave
Yes.
feedback. I know that I'm going to get this. I know it's going to launch here.
Yes.
And like all of
Yeah.
that kind of unexpected stress is our goal of like taking that away so you can just
Yeah.
enjoy the process as it happens.
Absolutely. That is perfectly said about the process. I don't even know how to add to that, honestly, because, you covered it so well. It was just boom, 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 boom. And I kind of liked the shortness of the process, because I felt like, I reached out and it was instantly like, okay, I'm here as Inkpot. Like, I'm going to do my thing. Let me work, almost like let me work for you is what it feels and what it really communicates. And the shortness of the timeline made it great for me, because I'm more of a decide on the fly kind of gal. I am not currently planning kind of person to an extent. I do plan, obviously, but some decisions are made kind of on the fly. So, like, I was like, oh, I think a rebrand is good. Kind of intuitive thinking is more so a word for it. I do a lot of intuitive thinking, but kind of ready for a rebrand. Let's see what we got going on. But no, I love the shorter timeline, and I think it just worked perfectly for how, things kind of flowed in a slow time, which is another point. Like, it happened in February, and I think that was a perfect time for a rebrand. It happened in that December, January time, I think, when we had first chatted about everything. And then, by February we were launching. And so I don't know, I think I liked that. It was like boom, and now we're here, which made perfect timing for the spring season too. So
Yeah.
it made perfect timing for like seasonal, I don't know, seasonal. There's a seasonal dump that happens right around that time too. So it's like, I feel like everything kind of flowed with the timing of not feeling my best self, and really now feeling like, okay, here we are. So I think the whole timing was great. Timing was perfect. So worked out great.
We love that. I have
Yeah.
one more question for you, which you kind of touched on a
Sure.
little bit, but now that you have the new Brandon website out, how confident do you feel in all of it?
That's a great question. I feel super confident, and I feel confident in every aspect of the brand too. There's not just bits and pieces that are like, oh, I like this, but I don't really like this, or I like this, but I don't really like this. No, I love all of it. I love the colors. I love the design. I love the layout. I love how much it doesn't look like honestly anything that I have seen around me thus far. So I don't know. I love, I feel super, super confident in now what I bring to the table
Mhm.
as a wedding photographer because of this brand. I'm going to be honest. This is like the fuel to the fire, is what it feels like. So, no, I feel super, super confident in the brand, super, super confident in myself, just with the base. The brand feels like the base of it all.
Mhm.
The brand feels like this is the stepping stone of more things that are to come in my wedding photography business. So I don't know. I am so excited. I am so confident, and I am so thrilled for, the next stages of life with this brand, of wedding photography with this brand. So yeah, it's given me confidence that I didn't know was there. I think, like, I don't know, it's wild to think of, and I still think of it. I'm like, who is this person now? Who is this person that has kind of evolved, even just since this rebrand, and it's
Mhm.
launched in February. So from February to now, April has been like, I don't know. It feels like I have lived almost like several different versions of myself even in that time frame, but it's all good stuff that this brand represents, and I myself represent, being the head leader of the brand. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm thrilled, truly. And I thank you once again.
I love that, and we cannot wait to see where everything kind
Yeah.
of takes you over the next
Yeah.
year and over the next couple of years. But if anybody
Yes.
wants to actually take a look at the new brand and website, where can they find you online?
You can find me all over the place. My website is www.briellingtonphotography.com. I am on Facebook as Bri Ellington Photography, and I'm also on Instagram as Bri Ellington Photography. And I just started a Threads. Threads is kind of cool. I'm Bri Ellington Photography everywhere, so pretty straightforward there. But
Perfect. Well, we will put all of those links down in the description. You should definitely go check them
awesome.
out. Thank you again so much for coming on and talking today, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you tons. I appreciate you.